Hey everybody, and welcome to today's episode. And I am so blessed today to have Mr. Travis Yost with us. Thank you so much. He made the journey down to our studio.
Woo!
And it's a fantastic handshake just to make it official.
I'm so glad to be here.
Fantastic. And so we'll just get right into it. You're one of the long-standing premier musicians that is just consistent, and I always see you around, especially in our area, in the community. And I just want to first just start out with how much we appreciate that. We see you, and you set that example for a lot of people, so you're appreciated. So,
well, the insatiable ego says yes. the constant hustler in me says, okay, good. Ooh, I'm glad somebody knows that I exist, and especially the Bitterroot, because this has been a new venture for me, having lived in Missoula for 20 some years. The Bitterroot. Come down here a lot now.
Right.
It's right here. There's gigs down here. Why am I not coming down here more? And
it's lots to do, lots to see.
Gladly come down these days. So,
well, let's just get right into it. So let's talk about you. How did you get your introduction into music? What was the start like?
My dad is a drummer, and so growing up, he does what I still do, or did what I still do, the playing in bar bands and whatnot, and in the 80s. And when I was constantly being told, or he was constantly being told, take him with you tonight.
Right.
Because I might have been a little annoying. Might have been a little bit of a terror. And so I grew up going to those gigs and going to those festivals, those fairs, all that stuff, either in Indianapolis and surrounding area, but then we moved to Helena in 90. And so he got sort of back into it, and then I dove into it at that point. But that's how I got into it. It never seemed like it wasn't an option. It seemed like playing music in bands, that's what you do.
Right.
That's what he does. I'm going to go do that. And so my introduction was him, and it was, a constant stream of Beatles, Zeppelin, and 80s and 90s country.
Oh, that's some good influence.
That's really
the foundation.
That's the basis of the whole thing. Is this everything from Joe Diffie to Garth to Strait and all that kind of stuff is like pretty normal, and then a heavy Zeppelin and Beatles rotation.
No, that's a great, like I said, great foundation. That's amazing.
Yeah,
but do you have any modern influences at all?
Yeah, my modern stuff is I'm obsessed with, like, I go through waves, but I constantly am obsessed with Wilco.
Oh God, of course.
And I can't get enough Wilco, Calexico, and LCDC sound system, and there's too many. But those, like, Chris Stapleton is the most current. Like, I hate Discovery. When you use the word Discovery, you're either saying, like, oh, look what I found, or people look at you and go, you just found him. Whatever. It doesn't matter when I found him, but he's a huge, like, as far as the guy who's doing it, and as pure, like him, Jeff Tweedy, those guys, it's as pure as possible.
Right.
Like, they're in it for the right reasons, and they continually perform well, and they just write cool stuff. And yeah, those guys. Yeah.
Well, let's talk about going from that, and then, so what was the early years like? How did you get your start, your first show, and like what kind of groups or projects did you start out with?
Started out in middle school. Started out earlier than middle school because I'd play with Dad's band, get up on stage, be a little 6-year-old with a guitar, get some tips for me and the band. Decent vaudeville style entertainment model.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Get him up there, and then right around middle school, turned into middle school band. Band director at my middle school got me a gig with the big band in Helena. So I started doing that occasionally, and then that became smaller, like bar bands would find me, and it's pretty novel to have a 12-year-old in your band, but also it's really cost effective because you can pay that 12-year-old whatever. You can pay that 12-year-old $10. Doesn't matter. As I joke, I always want to find young kids to underpay in a band someday, because that's what I experienced.
Right.
But it was that, and then once I had a car, high school, it was those bands constantly, plus bands with friends.
Right,
and
of course,
whatnot.
of course.
And then I was a nerd, and I got a scholarship to come to University of Montana to study percussion and education, music education. And yeah, that's kind of the flow. Was just playing in every band.
Right, of course. Was there ever that moment? Is there a point where you can say, this is when I decided I want to do this for my life? You know, this is how I want to make my living.
Yes. 2 moments. A, like getting the first times I got first couple $100.
Right.
The first $100 was like, was a really, really big deal, because while you can still play a gig for $100 if you want to these days, still do. But it's at that time that was amazing. Like through high school, like bought my first car with playing drums.
Right.
Like that's like amazing.
That's amazing. That's still amazing.
Yeah. But 16 was specifically when 15, 16 was like, no, this is what I'm going to do. And because I was trying not to get a real job, like a real high school job. I worked at Blockbuster for a week. That was awesome. I worked at Hastings for a week. But what I wanted to do was just like, I can do this. So I'm going to hustle as hard as I can to find as many gigs as I can. And being a drummer in Helena, the benefit is there. The market is there for a drummer, but there's only so many Fridays and Saturdays in the year. And so like you can only book yourself so much. And there's only so many bands that might need somebody. And then some bands have different ways they want to run it, all that kind of stuff. Anyway, that was like around 16 was like, no, I'm going to do this. Because I don't want to go do like a job where why work that job for $25 a shift when I could, this is 3 hours, I can get 4 hours. 4 hours, I can get $100. And I'm playing drums. This is it. This is the magic. So around 16. And then, of course, I was talked into music education as a backup. And the irony is there's 2 professors that talked me out of that while I was in it. No.
Right.
You should go play music. You don't need a backup. You just need to go play music. And you can always come back to this if you really want to. And
that is some of the best life advice I've ever heard passed on.
Oh, wow. Yeah. I mean, and the first one told me, like, you don't need music education. You should study something else.
Right.
You should cherry pick your music classes and do things that will help you in the long run, which of course they did. And yeah, I wish I would have cherry picked from the very beginning. Couldn't with the scholarship.
Of course.
But I lost that once I lost the scholarship, being on academic probation, like right away.
Right.
Because I didn't learn how to study in school because I was busy playing music in school. And then coming there, like to the big leagues of University of Montana, was like, a funny thing happened when auditioning for that scholarship. He's still my friend from college. He was like 4 years ahead of me. He walked downstairs and saw all the kids lined up, waiting to go in an audition. And he's like, I hear there's 2 awards you receive in high school for music and band, the Louis Armstrong Jazz Band Award and the Sousa Award for band. And he walked down. He's like, hey, I hear we have a couple award winners down here. And so who has a Sousa Award? And everyone's hand went up.
Of course, yep.
And
I had one myself, actually.
And who has Louis Armstrong Award? Everybody's hand went up. And it's funny for him trolling freshmen that way.
Right.
But it was definitely something that I learned right away. Was, this is going to be the most competitive period. Like, this is going to be heartbreaking. But also, no, you were special in your town. You were special in your town, and nobody knew you then either. Now here you are with a bunch of other people who think they're special. Right.
You might have been big fish. Welcome to being a little fish.
It's just like, you got to embrace it as far as like, there's ways to be the big fish in the big pond. And it usually, some of it's performing, some of it's songwriting, some of it's your thing. There's other things. It comes down to personality. Is what gets you those jobs. It's what keeps you in work. Is like whatever, being nice, all that kind of stuff. But I learned that right away that like, nobody's special, and this is about to be real sad. Watching people come out of the audition crying,
right,
and like, it's a nightmare, and like this is gonna be hard. But after the first year, professor, you don't need that. You don't want to do this. You want to do this other thing.
Exactly.
Yeah, I do. Well, just stay here. If you want to spend the money, stay here. Do this, this, and this. Study whatever. I picked early childhood development and elementary education. Thought that was a better backup for me. And then slowly but surely, the second professor, you're missing a lot of school. I was like, yeah, because I'm out on the road. He's like, then you. And he didn't even say that you shouldn't be here. He's like, well, you can't be here.
Right.
There's a spot for somebody.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're already doing it, why don't you go do it? Okay. Well, I gotta quit that day. All right.
Well, you go from that, and so
out.
you're actually transitioning into the kind of the full-time thing, and this is becoming the center of your life. One of the things that I really admire you about, and I would hope that a lot of people can take away from this, is that, as you said, you went in for drumming, but you're an amazing multi-instrumentalist, and you can do everything. You're one of the top bass players in the entire, Western Montana. You play great guitar. You're a songwriter. Clearly, you play drums.
Yeah.
Can you talk about that a bit? How have you been able to do so many things? And maybe talk about what's your favorite?
Oh yeah, it's ADHD. Like the superpower that is ADHD says, like the shortcomings, because it's not a learning disability. It's a way of living, and if you embrace it and use it, it's like I had the aptitude to learn drums, and I had the aptitude to dedicate 8 hours a day to it, and just sit there and constantly play. And then it was in the house from birth on, and then like realizing going over to a friend's house and there's a bass and you're like, this is fun. I was fortunate enough, and lower middle income house. But when I said, "Oh, bass would be cool," a bass shows up at Christmas, or on my birthday, and like, what's that instrument? That's a mandolin. I want one of those. Christmas mandolin and like guitars and that thing, and I was around musicians because of watching Dad play and around musicians, and I learned to talk about gear. Years before I even really understood what gear was, like understood the value of it and anything or whatever, and watching that process. So then, I'm a drummer, there's plenty of gigs. Oh, take all the drumming gigs you can get. Well, once you have like a couple drumming gigs, you're sort of unavailable,
right?
But there's still dates to fill, and like I should learn how to play bass. And my interest in drums is like, as a serious thing, was like 5th grade through college, and then was making a decent living with a couple bands through like 2008, 2009. And when the bottom sort of fell out recession-wise, but also bottom fell out of like the music market, there's this thing that started to happen, which is there's a brewery on every corner.
Right.
And there's a guy who talked to me, a buddy of mine, we were going to open up a brewery in 2005. And the bank and another guy talked us out of it because there were 3 breweries in Missoula, and there's no way Missoula can handle a 4th one.
Limits.
Crazy. So then once that happened, then there's like smaller ensembles. So like no drums.
Right.
Breweries, no drums. Some do, but for the most part, well, I don't want to get left out, and there's gigs to be had. I should play some bass. And like I was playing in a band with an upright player and watching him, and then realizing he was turning gigs down. I was like, oh, I need to learn how to play upright. Learn how to play upright, and did a lot. I played orchestra in high school, so like it's not that foreign, but then like this is a useful tool to go make money. And then I've always written songs, always had a guitar laying around. I've been a lazy guitarist. As far as like what I'm good at, I'm pretty low on the list as a guitarist, but it's a tool that give me G shapes and a capo. Those of you out here are rolling your eyes about my capo, grow up.
Right.
Grow up. There's a reality that if the capo gets you, if you're able to go play a gig and you like change the key and you're a singer, come on. So then I rolled out the guitar, started writing songs, and had to start singing them in front of people. And then that arsenal is what I preach to every kid, is to diversify. Like, unless you're the leader in the band, you can't make a band. Like you can't form a band. Drummers don't make bands. Oh, Fleetwood Mac. Yeah, okay, there's one.
Right.
And
One
in
in
the
40
end,
years. Good job.
yeah, and in the end, he's not what you remember about Fleetwood Mac. Maybe by face, but nobody remembers Mick Fleetwood. Like
Slinky
that's
Buckham and Stevie Nicks.
come on,
Yep,
yeah,
yep.
and nobody or the Police.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was Stewart's band, and that's the joke, or that's their little inside joke. But again, everybody knows who Sting is.
Mm-hmm.
So like you can't, and bass players don't start bands unless you're a singer. Like there's like a whole bunch of things to where if you want to like vary yourself like that, and then also it became like I can understand the rest of the band. Like I can understand what they're saying as a drummer. I know way too many drummers who have no, it's fine. They have no idea what you say when you say, well, when we go to the 4, we all do this. You go, well, when does that happen? You're like, well, when we go to the 4. Oh, you don't know what that is. Okay, that's fine. It's this thing or this line or something. And like understanding everybody's point of view. And if drummers had like those type of drummers had a little music theory and they could like talk a little and hear it and like do that, that's like a benefit.
Right.
And you also understand when you're talking to a band member trying to explain what you want them to do or what you think they should do.
Mm-hmm.
If you're speaking outside of their comfort zone or outside of the abilities of their instrument, you're making trouble and you're not making headway.
Right.
So like buy a bass, fool around with it. Every singer-songwriter should have a shitty drum set and a bass to go with their computer and their interface.
That's so genius.
You just sit there and like you can demo up your tune instead of wasting a 3-hour rehearsal. Sorry, I don't do 3-hour rehearsals. I came out of the educational system. We're getting a solid maybe 2 hours in. But you don't want to waste that rehearsal explaining one song.
Right.
When like you could just make this rudimentary thing that says like play one drum at a time. Play one drum at a time, use a loop, whatever. Just hammer out a bass idea so that you can like show the bass player, make it yours, but here's kind of what I'm looking at. Oh, you're going to save 3 hours. You're going to save months probably.
Mm-hmm.
And then the explanations and people get uppity. The whole thing is a big pain in the ass.
Right,
So
right.
you might as well know the other instruments.
That's some wonderful advice.
And like a keyboard, you get a keyboard for $20.
Mm-hmm.
Have it sitting on your coffee table. And when a commercial comes on, try to figure out what key the commercial's at. And then figure out, the chord change. Oh, that's what they mean by the 4.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
You
yeah,
start to
right there, yeah.
all those things start to connect. It takes a while, but if you're doing the work, if you're just finding ways to pluck at this and do that.
Yeah. And also, you're a singer-songwriter? Great. You got gigs? Awesome. Me or someone, I need a drummer just for tonight. Are you available?
Right.
I'm not that good. I don't care. Can you make time? Need time and just hang on by the seat of your pants? Come play the gig, I'll give you $100.
Right.
More or less, whatever. But that is like, it's a benefit, and then you're out doing it. And it's like, there's no real school for this.
No.
So you might as well go out and do it.
Be a Swiss Army knife kind of thing.
Oh, it's so much better. There's the number of the coolest. God, that's funny. There's probably like 10 of the coolest shows I played were on bass or keys, and I'm a terrible keys player.
That's
like,
funny.
Terrible, but I can learn a song, and I can be in a band.
Right.
And the other thing in the end was learn how to sing. Be useful you're useful on 5 songs in a 3-hour gig. That is worth so much more money than you brought your 10-piece drum kit or whatever. Like the worth of someone who can sing a harmony. So that's what I did immediately because that's what the questions always were. Can you sing harmonies? You're like, not really. And we want that answer to be yes.
Right.
Because, that's some serious money. You're working in a union area. If you're working union gigs, that might mean more money even. Like legitimately more money getting paid as voice and instrument.
Right.
And like there's like all sorts of really cool stuff that happens because you like try a little. And it's not that good. It could be good. And like it's not a problem. Doesn't bother me. Yeah, diversification.
Yes.
Is
and
like,
that there's so much anybody can take from that. That's just wonderful.
yeah, and if you can sing, like every professor, every educator, everybody in my life, like even with your instrument, if you can sing it, you can play it, is kind of a thing of like, if you can like sing your drum part, you'd probably be able to play it.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
As long
at
as you
least
hear it
be
in your
able to
head.
figure it out. Yeah.
Right.
And like, if you're able to do that thing too, where you can like sing the part reasonably to somebody, you're getting so much more headway than a lot of other options. Trying to pick it out or trying to do a thing like, here, I want you to do a part that's like this. And if you're comfortable with singing, you won't mind, because even your best friend that you play music with, you're going to have trouble. You're going to feel embarrassed to sing this like line that you wanted to play. And then like, even, now sing it again. Wait, what was it? No, wait, sing it again. Wait, what was it? And like, you're going to be embarrassed. You might as well be somewhat confident at it and figure that out, because it's just an education in yourself, and you're an investment in yourself that says, oh, I'm able to do all these things. The pitfall is there's always a musician who starts playing an instrument and thinks they can do that, and now they want to do that too in the one band they're already in.
Right.
No. Go find another band to go do that in. Just be your little self in this band. But in the end, it's so great. Diversification.
Right.
I cannot believe how important it is.
Well, let's talk about some of your projects that you've been doing, and you've played with some of the best names that I personally think in around, especially over the last couple of years. And for sure, you played with John Floridas as one of his bass players,
and as one of his drummers early on.
Yeah, right.
And
Tom Catmill.
I played Catmill from. It's now we're in our 21st or 22nd year together. I was his drummer for a million years, and then like, I don't know, 7, 8 years ago, I switched to bass with him, and still there. Yeah, that's been great, and an extremely inspirational person to play with.
My bet.
Obviously. And yeah, continually still playing. I just we recorded Floridas's new album in my studio, which it hasn't been a commercial studio in years. It's just friends and family and me.
Right.
Which was really fun though. Having a band in the studio, it's the best. And it was a really fun time for that. Yeah, those guys. Caroline Keys was a good one. We were in Stella Rondo together. She was in my first real attempt at a band with my songs. The New Hijackers. We traded. I'll let you be in my band if you let me be in yours.
Oh, so cool.
And mild success actually great success on both ends of those two projects. There's other people, but those are huge names in this little state.
What other projects do you have that you do?
My current workload is I'm either solo, Trav, the mighty Trav. I'm either with my friend Shell, my musical partner Shell. She is multi-instrumentalist, beyond multi-instrumentalist, and a great songwriter and a great singer. And we have a duo called Faster Rabbit. Okay. Which is as folky and precious and as lonesome as it gets. It's cute because we almost have sibling harmonies. Right. Referred to as my twin, for better or for worse. I just don't know how offensive that is to her. No, that's fine. It's probably offensive to her. No, and then she is the fourth member of Loves a Dog from Nebraska. Just Loves a Dog. With I got Drew and Brandon Barker playing drums and bass. Oh, cool. I know. There's a real spoiled thing that happened when I finally asked one of them to do it. And then I have a fake country band that it's funny because I developed it I play a lot of private ranch work, and they want country music. But the private ranch guests don't actually want country music all night. Right, yeah. But they want a country band. And I don't have to, there's like a whole bunch of material I don't have to learn because I grew up doing that. So then I brought my dad in to play drums for that, and Shell came in to play bass for that. And so I got this, and Aaron Jennings is in there playing steel. I just got him my tradition of the last 6 years is, if you join the band, you get your own Loves a Dog jacket, or you get your own. It's Red Merle and the Shepherds. You get your Red Merle jacket that you're officially in the band, and I will call you for a gig. Oh, and I depend on you. You've become indispensable. Yeah, the jacket is a blessing and a curse. It means I really need you to play this game. Right. Or here's 10 songs for you to learn by Friday. Sorry. Good luck. Sorry about that. Which everybody is. That's the group of people I've surrounded myself with. Are the people that can do it, that want to do it. I still play with Tom, still play with John, still. But those are Loves a Dog and Red Merle are the bands, and the Mighty Travis is still if there's a dude in the corner singing music, I'm one of those guys.
Right.
Obviously, that's what it's been.
That's amazing.
It's pretty good these days.
Just so you guys know, we hear the dog in the background. He's kind of by himself for the first time,
buddy,
so sorry about that.
Buddy, it's going to be okay.
So what's coming up for you? Let's hear about that. What kind of projects you got coming up? What kind of things are coming up for you?
Yeah, there's a couple cool things coming up. I have my normal schedule coming up, like summer craziness.
But you can check all those links below. We'll have those. You can take a look at those.
Good old TravisYost.com. TheMightyTravis.com. Loves a dog from Nebraska.
Perfect.
GoDaddy receives a big check from me every year.
Right. Oh, God, I know the feeling.
I have two things coming up. So pre-pandemic, it was actually March of 2020. I had this thing. I finally put together a presentation that's called So You Want to Be a Professional Musician.
Oh, that sounds amazing. It sounds right up everybody's alley here.
I know, this is it. And I sold out 2 nights of it, which was awesome because I don't even have to bring gear. Awesome. And then the pandemic hit. We had to cancel it. Just kept pushing it as all that happened. And then now here we are. It's 2024, and I have to put that on the calendar. It's going to be sometime in March.
Perfect.
And I will be making a lot of noise about it. So
that's
if
you will see it follow our links if you want to see
awesome.
it. We will have it up there as soon as we get it. We'll have it for you.
And as you can see or hear, I don't stop talking, and I'll talk a mile a minute, and the tangents are wild and the whole thing. But I came up with the presentation and mapped it all out to try to keep it to 2 hours.
Right.
Because we're talking about professional musician is so varied and so wild, and I've played with symphonies, I've played with bar bands, I've been gun for hire for National Touring Acts, I've been a solo singer-songwriter, I've been a bass player, I've been a drummer, I've been all the things enough that the people who show up, I can mention something to everybody about everything, which turns out is a better deal because the thing you're telling the guitarist that wants to be a pro is going to help the singer-songwriter know what to look for, what not to look for, and then it's going to help this other person, and it's going to be a reality.
Right.
And I want people to take the information because at the least, it's somebody is inspired to book one gig because that's the first step. How do you book gigs? Well, I can tell you how to do it, but that's not really the problem.
Right.
Because you can walk into anywhere. Just stay with the United States. Stay with North America. You can walk into any venue, any place, and if it's a night they don't have music and they don't have anything else going on, you can probably play. How do you get a gig?
That's easy. That's simple.
Be more specific.
Right, exactly.
You want to make a living? That's too bad. That's unfortunate. But there's a way, and there's a way for everyone to do it. So we're going to put that on the calendar. It'll probably be at the Roxy Theater in Missoula.
Okay, perfect.
And we'll do that. And then, so I have that coming up. I'm going to dive in. I've been an educator on and off over all the years. I used to teach here in Florence.
You're kidding. I did not know that.
At Florence Carlton. And I'm going to dive back into the educational model for lessons. Because there's always a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday where I got room. But the problem is, for me, is that it used to be I don't know how you discovered music. I discovered music because it was in my house.
Right.
Music,
it's a pretty common story, actually.
Yeah, music lover, there's gear. And while there wasn't, guitars but a guitarist would float into the house and there's a guitar, and you touch it and a guitar. And I took piano lessons, which is I know a lot of educators. I know there's a lot less piano teachers than there used to be. And so that's it's not, your exposure to music as a kid is it's a lot harder now. Not everybody has the piano in their house. Not everybody has the uncle that plays in a band. It's a lot less common.
You're right.
And so I'm putting together a curriculum that will involve a month of, hey, we're playing drums this week. We'll play bass next week. We'll play keys next week, and we'll play guitar last week. And then we'll decide if you want to focus on something, or do you just want to. We'll spend a month. We'll record one song, and you'll play everything, or something like that.
Oh my God, that's so smart.
Get through all of the instruments because you don't know what you want to do, and also, like me, Nobody should be limited to one. The idea of focus on one instrument, master of one. Nah, sure. I'd rather. I mean, Nate Beal had a comment that was, instead of being good at one thing, I'd rather be like okay at a bunch of stuff.
Right.
And for me, that's how you make good music. Is you're good at stuff. You know, it never ceases to amaze me the number of amazing musicians who like it still I'm surprised when like this amazing songwriter. There's a clip of him just joking around on the drums. It's decent.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Right.
he played drums. Oh, and like be surprised by that is weird, but also like, oh, it's so cool.
Right.
Oh, it's because you've been around music, and like it should be just natural. So we're gonna do that, the multifaceted lessons, and then I do songwriting workshops for kids and adults.
Oh, cool.
And so while I'm not the greatest songwriter on earth, I can help somebody write a song.
Right.
And those being in the workshop format, where it's usually 4 students and me,
Mm-hmm.
and the deal is you get your assignment and you present it the next week, and that's a pressure we
That's
all
so
need.
fantastic.
Need
Well,
that
if
pressure.
we can find
Even
those
I get
links,
the pressure.
get those links to me. We'll make sure
Yes.
to have those as soon as we find them. If not, we'll have all his links below.
Sure.
Wherever you hear this or see this, whatever time it is, follow those. They'll be there. So anything else you'd like to share with the people?
So many things. Oh, you mentioned you want to talk about Naked Ridge Runner.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
no reason to not talk about
Of course.
Naked Ridge Runner.
Tell us all about that.
So the elusive mythological beast that is the Naked Ridge Runner hasn't appeared in a couple of years because it's I'm a little busy. There's a thing that happens with me, and it deals directly with like the ADHD thing of like, okay, I don't want to be a drummer anymore. I want to be a bass player now.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be a guitarist. There's a thing where I tend to monetize everything in my life.
Right.
Like as a songwriter, I've monetized every relationship I've ever had, and as a musician, every activity, because this thing called social media appeared in like 2007. Not counting MySpace pre that, because that wasn't as valuable as we thought it was. But now here we are. We're still in it. It's not going away. There was a point where, jokingly, as my only hobby that I haven't monetized is walking around in the woods, going for hikes. And like, there was a point where
funny.
I wanted to take a picture of me off in the distance, naked, my butt only, and post it on the internet because it's funny. And I did the first one, and I got the most polarizing response I've ever received from a post, which is really funny to me because I talk about music on the internet, and those get pretty polarizing. This one was polarizing. This one was, oh, this is funny, fun. This is fun. Please stop doing this. I don't want to see this on my feed. I hate this. One or the other. Please, no. There's 2 particular people that are like, oh, you could just hear it. But then Ed Stalling, drummer in town, he called me the Naked Ridge Runner. And I was like, what is that? What is that from? And there's a book called The Ridge Runner, which is about an elusive human creature who was living out of Forest Service cabins and whatnot in like Idaho, Selway and whatnot. And they wrote a book about him, the hunt for him, because he would just live in a Forest Service cabin for a month and then go to another one, and they would talk about him like running up the side of the mountain to get away from him or whatever. You could catch a glimpse of the Ridge Runner. And he's like, you're the Naked Ridge Runner. I was like, that's me. That's perfect. But what I noticed is like, I post one of those on a Saturday off a hike or a Monday off a hike and think it was funny. But then that event post for that Friday gig would have 10 times the views, would have 10 times the invite likes or something. Excuse me. And it was like, oh, the algorithm. The algorithm is showing them more of me because they interacted so harshly or had fun with that particular post. And I was like, oh, great. Oh, this is awesome. You know, and then I'm doing it consistently. Like,
Right.
Like, oh, I need one in front of, I need one in Butte in front of the thing. Now I need landmarks.
Right.
Okay, Glacier. And my dad and I collect national parks. So then it became like, oh, every national park. I'm going to get the National Park Service involved in this.
Right.
I'm going to keep going. This is great. And then there's a point where, yeah, okay, I just want to go for a hike.
Right, yeah.
I don't need to do this. Like, I want to set up the camera. I don't want to do this whole thing. I just want to go for a hike. And then, like, just normal stuff, body issues, anything like that, where I'm like, oh, actually, I'm tired of putting naked pictures of myself on.
I can imagine.
But he still exists and will always exist for when this summer comes along and I have important stuff come along. You never know, he might pop out.
Right.
But it's so funny because that's like such a weird, crazy thing. Like some people think it's psychotic or some people think it's a little nutty. It's stupid. It's just silly. I was just trying to get people to laugh. And
I think it's genius.
And I want the attention.
Right.
No matter how I get it, I want the attention on the internet.
Right.
And so be known for whatever. But then baseline, I am just an entertainer. Not just, but that's the box.
The core, right? Yeah.
And that's entertaining.
Yeah, fair.
That's funny. And
I highly recommend. It'll be a link below. Do check
hashtag
it out.
Naked Ridge Runner will take you to that idiot in the woods doing things in certain places where you think he got caught. Yes, he did. But it's not weird. It's just funny. But yeah, it's so funny the number of times that promo or this job is taken over by this other little thing that all of a sudden becomes important. Like I had to start scheduling it.
Oh, right.
Like, oh God, we got to get some new Naked Ridge Runner pictures. Oh no.
Yeah. Okay. See, it's kind of losing itself. That's just like
that loses itself, and then I don't know if I need to keep doing this. What's the age limit where like I should take a break and then come back because like it's funnier if you get older or something? I don't know what it is. You know, what's the deal? And like how many people are going to look at me face to face and be like, "What are you doing?" And then the number of people that are like, "This is fun. I love it." And they're like, the dichotomy is too much. But yeah, it's just like anything else in my life. It's like comes down to, like, how does this affect the gig? How does this affect my gigs? And it affected it positively. So I guess this is the deal.
Love it. Absolutely love it. Like I said, all links will be below. We'll have everything that you do in our touch, and we can get a link to. We'll put it below. But is there anything else that you want to share with the people before we sign off?
I got 10 hours of material. No, this has been awesome.
Well, coming down and talking about this. Oh, thank you so much.
I love what you're doing because we don't have it. Like as a podcaster, we had a successful podcast. We really like doing it, but you're doing it consistently. You're also doing the ones by yourself, which I can't even bring myself to do those. Like I want to do those. I can't even bring myself to do them because like I'm the only one in charge.
Right. It's very time consuming.
Yes. And you're living in the video world too. I didn't even do that. And so like what you're doing is great.
Oh, I appreciate that really so much. And it's really our honor to have you.
And whoever said no to you so far, there we go.
No, you sons of bunnies. But still.
I'll talk to him.
Well, thank you so much. And again, everybody, check out all those links. Go watch some shows. Please check out the Naked Ridge Runner. It's amazing. And just thank you again. I have one more last one. Thanks you so much, Travis Yost. And we'll see you guys on that next one. Thank you.
Hey.
Bye.